National Home Buyers Month. I am Marva Morris, your Central New Jersey Realtor. It's day 24, and as promised, here comes the first-time home buyers frequently asked questions lightning round. I get a ton of questions from buyers, which is great. Keep them coming. Love to hear from you. I'm going to answer some of the most frequently asked questions right here today. Ready? Let's go. First question, how long does it take to buy a house from start to finish? So, it varies, but here's a ballpark. Once you go under contract, it's usually about 30 to 60 days to close. The searching phase is up to you. Some people find a home in a week, others take several months. It all depends on you. But typically, if you started today, you might be moving in within 2 to 3 months, assuming you're pre-approved and actively looking. We talked about pre-approval, so just look at that video. Now, next question, do I really need 20% down? No, that's an outdated myth for first-time buyers. As we discussed on day 6 and 7, you can buy with as little as 3 to 5% down and 0% for VA and USDA loans. Now, 20% down is great if you have it. No PMI and a lower payment, but not required. Many first-timers put down between 3 to 10%. There are also down payment assistance programs. Now, we did discuss that on day 8. You can go back and look at that video. So don't let the 20% idea scare you off. You're looking? Start looking. Next question. I just mentioned it. What's PMI? I hate acronyms. PMI stands for Private Mortgage Insurance. If you put less than 20% down on a conventional loan, you pay this monthly fee that protects the lender in case of default on the loan. Now, it might add a couple $100 to your payment. The good news is once you have 20% equity through paying down or home value rising, you can often cancel PMI. Now, for FHA loans, they have their own mortgage insurance that usually lasts the entire life of the loan. This is if you only put down a 3.5%. It's just a trade-off for the low down payment. We'll factor it into your affordability, so it's not a surprise, right? You can always refinance also later on down the line. Next question. What if my offer is rejected or I get outbid? Guess what? It happens, especially the past few years. Many buyers lost out on a home or 2 or 3 or 4 before winning one. My advice, don't be discouraged. Think of it as part of the journey to the right house. We will regroup, maybe adjust our strategy, and continue with our search for your perfect home. Sometimes a lost house becomes a blessing when a better one comes along. Persistence is key. Also, sometimes we luck up and the person who won the bid does not move forward for whatever reason, and you get the opportunity to move forward on that home of your dreams. Next question. Should I buy a house that's at the top of my budget or go lower? Ideally, I recommend some cushion. Life happens. You don't want to be stressed every month about how you are making these payments. If the top of your pre-approval feels comfortable and you have stable income, okay, move forward with it. But if it feels like a stretch, aim a bit lower. You can always upgrade in the future. Your first home does not have to be your forever home. It's okay if it's a starter that fits your life for 5 to 7 years, maybe 10, right? You don't have to start out at the top. Next question. Can I ask the seller to pay closing costs? Yes, you can. That's called a seller's concession. We touched on that on day 15. In your offer, we can request the seller pay a certain amount of dollars of your closing costs. It effectively finances those costs into your loan. It works best in a buyer's market or if a home has had trouble selling. In a hot market, which is where we are now, sellers usually won't do it. So right now, no seller's concessions. But if you need that help, we can try with a solution that may allow us to negotiate that. Next question. When do I get the keys? Such an important question. At closing, which we will talk about on day 29 coming up. Once all the documents are signed and the funds are transferred, you get the keys and the home is yours. Woo-hoo! It's usually that same day, right? Everything happens in the same day. Occasionally, there could be what we call a rent back where the seller stays for a few days, but that's not super common, so not even going to talk much about that. So let's see. Next question. Can I back out if I change my mind? Now, here's a short answer, right? Up until you're under contract, yes, you can decide not to pursue a house. For example, you saw a house, made an offer, but in New Jersey, during attorney review, if you change your mind, you're free to walk. See ya, don't want to get the house anymore. Now, after you're under contract, that's once we're out of attorney review, it is binding, but you do have contingencies. For instance, if inspection goes poorly, you can exit with proper notice within the contingency period. Or if your loan is denied, despite your good faith effort, that's the mortgage contingency. You can get out then too. But if all contingencies are satisfied and you simply get cold feet right before closing, it's a little harder. Now, you could forfeit your deposit, so be pretty sure when you sign the contract and use the contingency windows. If you need to bail due to specific issues, just make sure that you're aware of that and make sure you understand you can lose your deposit. Now, big question, how much are the realtor fees for me as a buyer? Now, we recently had a national change in the law. National. Now, this is prior to August of 2024. In New Jersey, the seller typically paid the commission, which is split between their agent and your buyer's agent. Now, it can be paid by the buyer or seller or a hybrid of the buyer and seller, which would be something that we would discuss at the beginning of your home search. So as your realtor, we'll sit down with you, sign a buyer's agency, and we'll talk all about that. Also, that is paid at closing. Now, question again. Should I do a final walkthrough? Absolutely. Now, we're going to talk more about this also on day 29. It's your right to check the property before closing to ensure it's in the expected condition. Always do it. 99% of the time it's fine, but that 1%, you may catch something that you didn't expect. Maybe the mover scuffed the wall, or, an appliance got damaged or broken in the last week. Now, we find these issues and then we can address them at the closing table. Whew, that was a lot, right? It was. Now, these are just a few of the questions that I hear often. Like I said, these are my frequently asked questions. If you have any others that I didn't cover, drop them in the comments or just ask me directly. Give me a call. My number is 609-468-6324. And remember, there are no dumb questions in this process. If you're thinking it's valid, it is. I am always happy to answer no matter how small or silly you think it is. It's a big deal to buy a home, and you deserve to understand every part of the process. I have sold over 250 homes and you, zero. So ask away. As always, you can text or call me, right? You got the number? 609-468-6324 for any questions or clarifications. Now we are in the home stretch of our 30-day National Home Buyer Series. Tomorrow, day 25, we'll discuss what happens after you move in the home. Home maintenance and budgeting as a new homeowner. Things you need to know before you jump in. Once again, my name is Marva Morris, your Central New Jersey Realtor, and I am moving you forward. Happy National Home Buyers Month and enjoy your day